So the Nintendo Switch special event is tonight. I imagine we're going to be getting answers to a lot of our remaining questions like the price, release date, launch titles, and more. So I figured we could play a little game. Since the stream is in just a few hours, I'm going to try and predict some of the announcements tonight, and I want you guys to do the same thing. Now, I'm going to narrow my list down to my top 5 most likely predictions, but you guys can feel free to list as few or as many as you'd like. So, in no particular order, let's get started. Number 5. The release date. Everyone wants to know when this thing is coming out. Now, based on the current available information like the recent rumors or advertisements that show off Nintendo Switch related accessories, I'm going to say that the Nintendo Switch will probably launch on March 17th, 2017. Not exactly a groundbreaking prediction, in fact it's pretty safe since, as I said before, due to the advertisements from certain retailers listing accessories releasing on the 17th, it would make sense for those to be available on launch day. However, I looked at some of the previous Nintendo launches for consoles and the company likes to release things on Sundays. The GameCube, original DS, Wii, 3DS, and Wii U all released on Sundays, with most actually releasing in November. The only one that didn't release in November was the 3DS, which released in March. I do find that very interesting since March 17th is actually a Friday. So although I'm going to stick with my prediction and say the 17th, I wouldn't be surprised if I was off by maybe 2 days and instead the Nintendo Switch launched on March 19th to fall in line with Nintendo's pattern of releasing on Sundays. Number 4. The price. Probably the second thing everyone wants to know is how much this thing is going to cost. And again, same as the release date, we've had plenty of rumors or advertisements from retailers that would have us believe the Nintendo Switch will cost somewhere around the $250 range. And I've seen that number thrown around so much, I think it would be foolish for me not to make it my prediction. Oddly enough though, I originally expected the Switch to cost upwards of $300 due to the portability of the console, but I think $250 is a much better price point for not only Nintendo, but also my own wallet. Now, that's not my only reason for changing my opinion on the price. Recently, Nvidia, the company Nintendo partnered with to create the graphics chip for the Nintendo Switch, revealed a few new products in their Shield line of devices. Now, the Nvidia Shield is essentially an Android tablet with a high-powered graphics chip for gaming and also remote playing of PC games. These new devices are all around the $200 to $300 price range, and it wouldn't surprise me if they use some similar tech to the Nintendo Switch in terms of the graphics chips inside. Number 3. Battery life. This will probably be a point of contention for a lot of people, myself included, but I'm hoping, well, praying, really that the Switch has at least a 3-hour battery life. I know that doesn't seem like much, and that's mostly because, well, it isn't. But I feel like for the size of the device and the potential power that it packs, 3 hours of battery is pretty decent. That's about the same as my gaming laptop, but obviously the Switch is going to be a lot smaller, so I feel like this is a reasonable battery life for a device of that size. Now, I know there are going to be people out there who want to get more life out of the Switch, and I'm sure I might even end up being one of those people. But I think that this is a problem that could be solved by something like a case that has an extra battery in it that goes around the Switch itself when it's off the dock. It might be annoying to remove the case every time you have to dock it, but that brings me to my second option, battery banks. Since the Switch is powered via a USB-C connection, you could technically buy a larger battery bank and plug the Switch into that while on the go for longer play sessions. Of course, these are extra devices that you have to purchase separately, but at least the options are there. Number 2. Launch titles. This one is less of a prediction, more of what I would like to see available on launch, but I'm aware that I'll probably be wrong on almost everything here. Let's start with the ports. I see no reason why the ports of Wii U games like Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, and Smash Bros. Can't be launch titles. I imagine it wouldn't take Nintendo much effort to completely port those over to the Switch, and I would be more surprised to find out that they don't have those ready for launch. So I guess my prediction is any Wii U port should be available at launch. On top of that, Breath of the Wild. Now, the release date of Breath of the Wild is currently unknown, and rumors have said it will launch alongside the console, while others have said it will launch a few months afterward. And I hope it's the former. Nintendo really needs a killer game to sell the Switch, and Breath of the Wild has been delayed like, what, 3 times already? I want the game to be perfect and everything Nintendo wants it to be, but I also want to play it before I'm 50. I think predicting the launch of Breath of the Wild alongside the Switch is a pretty safe bet. However, that new Mario title they showed off very briefly in the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer, I'm not so sure. It would be great if Nintendo had both a Mario and Zelda title to launch the Switch with, but because the first time we heard about that game was in that commercial, I'm not so certain we'll get that lucky. So I'm just gonna say that Mario Switch, or whatever they end up calling it, will probably be a holiday title for 2017, if we're lucky. Now, I'm sure Nintendo will have more launch titles than just that, but the problem is there's like no information to even speculate off of. However, that's never stopped anyone in the past. I'll probably be wrong about this, but maybe, just maybe, we'll get a new Metroid announcement, or a new console Animal Crossing game, and maybe even a Donkey Kong game. Those would be pretty cool, right? I know those predictions are based on absolutely nothing, but hey, if somehow all of those things actually do get announced, I'll be incredibly happy. If not, well, I can't say I really expected them to anyways. Number 1. Availability, as in how likely you'll be able to get one on launch. This is one thing that I hope I'm really wrong about. Like, I hope come March, I have people in the comments celebrating the fact that they got a Nintendo Switch on launch day without any problems whatsoever. I just don't think that's going to be the case. As of now, Nintendo has a bit of a reputation with understocking items, and it's not a new trend either. They've been accused of this going all the way back to the NES days, but recently you've had the Wii launch, the NES Classic Edition, and the entire Amiibo fiasco. Now, industry experts will say that Nintendo is doing this purposefully to draw up more press and artificially make it seem harder to get, which in turn makes more people want it because, you know, it's rare. It's a tactic used a lot in the toy industry, and because Nintendo used to be a toy company before its massive success as a video game company, people often point to that in order to criticize Nintendo. Now, I'm not sure if Nintendo is currently understocking highly valued items on purpose, but because it's been such a problem recently, I feel like it could unfortunately affect the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and it could be hard to come by on release. Again, I really hope I'm wrong on this, but it's just hard to say. And even though I'm normally against it, I probably would recommend pre-ordering one as soon as you can if you are interested at all in getting a Switch near release. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Making predictions is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. I mean, I'm not Nostradamus or anything. Do I look like I got a crystal ball, guys? 'Cause I don't. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about my predictions. And of course, let me know what you guys predict will happen tonight in the comments down below. I look forward to reading them, and then getting told how wrong I was tonight after the event is over. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more of my videos, consider subscribing. But once again, guys, my name is Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.